Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of our weekly podcast at the end of the day. And for those who are very new, this is a weekly guide for the newly arriving immigrants in the US, and we bring you new episode every Sunday. So as always, I am Dipika Shrestha.
And I am Anuz Thapa.
And with us today is Elias Gurmu. Elias, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Elias is from Ethiopia and he is the co-owner of Cafe Bunny and Bunny Coffee in Manhattan in New York. And Elias has been in the US for the last 7.5 years. We will be talking about how Elias has introduced Ethiopian coffee culture in the US, in New York specifically, and how he is using this culture from Ethiopia to create a business in New York.
In an interview to The Guardian Food, you said everyone knows Ethiopia for famine and starvation, but you wanted to change people's mind by introducing Ethiopian coffee. So what exactly, made you realize that you could start selling Ethiopian coffee in New York?
People about Ethiopia, when they hear this, like in the Western media, what they is about the famine and the problem. We have the civil wars, all those kind of things. But of course, those are reality. You can see that.
Right.
But we'll see also the country, also the beautiful side.
Right.
Actually, it's like, much better the side of that one. But the problem is we don't have enough people, or maybe we are not good enough to express that and take out and tell that the truth and the reality, the beauty of the country. When we plan to move to the US, me and Serena, my wife, we said, we should do something about Ethiopia. And I know, it's not a new thing about to bring Ethiopian coffee and sell it to the US market, but at least, I can do something, my part. Right. If I do that, if I trying to tell this is Ethiopian coffee, the finest coffee in the world, the birthplace of coffee, there is what the coffee is comes from the beginning. And that's the idea of these small coffee shops, Ethiopian coffee, opening in the heights. That brings it to that community.
You have, I believe, 2 cafes in New York City, right?
Yeah.
But you started it as an online business.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that so that people understand how easy or how difficult it is to start a small business in New York City?
Especially for people immigrated from other countries, they come here. There's a lot of barriers when you start your business.
For example?
For example, is let's say you come, your plan. For me, I came to the US and I planned to open this coffee business, bringing from Ethiopia, roast it and sell it online. But until I learn about that business, it feels like, okay, but online business, it's not that hard. But when you think about it, or you import the coffee, you have to have a warehouse. That's another overhead cost. You have to have roasted, and then you have to do a lot of promotion on online business. It's not a joke business. Okay. It's held by big companies. Like me, small business owners, it's hard to compete with those companies. They sell coffee at a cheap price.
True.
I can't afford to do that.
Right.
Because the amount of coffee they bring those companies and versus me, it doesn't make sense because I pay a premium also. Sometimes I work with the direct with the farmers, and then I pay fair trade price. That's a premium, a little bit more. But that is it takes time. First, I came with the plan, but I was lucky, and also I was working hard also to come to this point.
What kind of things you are doing so that your coffee business thrive in this competitive market?
When we started, in the beginning, I used to roast it by myself at home with the stovetop, and then make coffee and take it to these local events, harvest festivals, those kind of local kind of events in the parks, nearby parks. I take there, I give them samples for people, and I start selling them by online, small, and then I start delivering into their doors, and then that's how it started.
Oh.
And yeah.
Interesting. And Elias, for most of the immigrants who come to this country, it's really hard to start a business on their own. But you started your own business, a coffee business. Have you ever had, a fear that your business might not work?
No, not at all. I don't have any doubt, to be honest.
Okay, that's confidence.
Like when I started,
Uh-huh.
I have like total confidence.
Okay.
I think I was maybe I was a little bit younger sometimes. That helps. Now when I open my second location, I have more fear.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, okay, I have that motivation like to start the business. I have like okay the little bit money, and we put all the money from here and there, and I didn't make it any plan. Like let's say when we start business in our country, we don't have any business plan. We just go rent a house and then I make plan. This that's what we do. Here that's what I'm saying. Like when you start business here, you have to study everything. What are my clients? What is the traffic? The foot traffic? How much is my cost of goods?
Right.
How much I sell? How many percentage have to be like my sale, my profit? All that it matters. And in the beginning when I opened that, I just put it together very simply, and I didn't even calculate the taxes, how much tax I have to pay, how much, there's a lot of like, background tax you pay, like you don't even know it's existing, until you open the business.
Right.
And sometimes, as I said, like, we were on the right place, on the right time to be succeed this business, and we have the motivation also. I put my time like completely there. I used to work almost 20 hours. I used to sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm not joking. For the first 6 months.
Are there any organizations where they should contact in order to get initial guidance?
New York City there's a lot of potential. If in order to go out and then get helps, there's a lot of like like for example SBA, like Small Business Administration. They help you with a lot of like things. There's a lot of like free legal help, advice, financial aid. The financial aid is hard, like when you come to the US. But other things you can help a lot of get helps.
Oh, okay.
The thing is you have to explore, and the good thing is also if you are like a little bit knowledge of like using like computer and stuff, especially for this generation, it's a really much easy place.
So Elias, we're at the end of this podcast. If you have to advise a newly arriving immigrants who wants to start a small business like yours, what advice do you want to give out to them?
Before you help others, you have to win your life, right? You have to challenge to survive. To do that, I think what I said is be yourself and do what's in your inside. Sometimes it's harder, to achieve those goals. But if you try, and if you be yourself and then try your best, I think there's always to achieve, no matter it is where you are.
There might be so many people who might want to reach out to you for some advice. Are you willing to say your email address?
Elias at bunnicoffee.com. That's BUUNNI coffee.com.
So guys, if you want to reach out to him, just email him and make sure you write at the end of the day in the subject title so that he knows where these emails are coming from.
Thank you so much, Elias, for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Elias.
Thank you, guys.
Please subscribe to our channel and please like, comment and share to our podcast.
Log on to our official website, which is podcast@theendoftheday.com. So until we catch you next,
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, a quick note. If you have a personal story that you think might be helpful to the newly arriving immigrants in the US, please contact us. We would love to feature you in our podcast. Go to our website, podcast@theendoftheday.com, and write to us by going to the feedback section.
And by the way, if you love this podcast, you can support us with a small donation. Your help will enable us to continue producing more episodes. The link to support our podcast is in the description below.